Oops. Live, deep in the heart of West Texas, this is the James Hendricks Show. Most of the time we cover the news and I do some consulting. Today, I think we need to back it up a little bit. Listen to me, guys, this is the problem. I went on to one of the conservative news sites I felt like I could trust, the American Thinker, and you know, it's a reasonably good news site, but it seems like I feel like in some ways that news outlets on both sides of the aisle keep covering the same stories over and over again. And based on the standards I have, that's not news. That's not news. So, let me give you some old news that is some good news. Some of the political philosophies I have. Now, some of you've heard all over the media, on about cancel culture. I don't like what is being termed as cancel culture. Because you see, I think, as a conservative federalist, I think both sides of the aisle play the same shell game. Let's not call it cancel culture. Let's call it reactive culture. And as a Christian, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm going to go ahead and say this, and I need you to try to begin to really understand, okay? The person that's behind our reactive culture is the prince of the power of the air. Okay? You can't tell me that that the majority of stuff that is being reported as news on both sides of the aisle is just old recycled stuff to keep people scared. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll go back to reporting the news tomorrow, but recently I have had a slight health ailment that kind of told me to slow my roll as far as reporting the news. My body was telling me that I was getting too reactive. And so I think we need to get a little bit, if we're going to go into politics, we need to go a little bit on the inspirational thing, okay? Now, we're going to go into the words of Aristotle. We're going to go into the words of Aristotle. Here's something that he said I love. Wicked people obey from fear. Good people from love. I want to take it a little bit further than Aristotle, okay? Love and faith. You see, the direct opposites of fear is love and faith. Okay, because, the love, that's easy to understand. The Bible says that perfect love casteth out fear. And who had that perfect love? We all know what I'm talking about. Those of you who are Christians, you know that I'm talking about Christ. And so, our reactive culture that we have that is ran by the prince of the power of the air, and some of his agents among people on Earth who honestly don't think in some ways are living righteously. They're living reactively, and so that's why it's got to stop. Here's a more blunt quote. It's an indictment of this reactive culture by Aristotle. Listen to this. Now, we're going to do this we're going to count what he says as figuratively, but we're not going to count it as a grain of salt. Why is it that all those who have become eminent in philosophy, politics, poetry, or the arts are clearly of a tribulous temperament, and some of them to such as extent as to be affected by disease caused by black bile? Now you got to understand, okay, that's an ancient thing. But reactivity, it eats through the body and the soul. Some of you're saying, Jimmy, you're supposed to report the news. You're supposed to be the political consultant. Yes, I am being a political consultant today with my political philosophy. Those of you in Washington, D.C., slow your roll. You big company guys that expect everybody to be reactive for a country that has already been, its nerves has already been exposed by a pandemic, or what I sometimes call a plandemic. And I'm not saying this, in a negative way, because to some degree, I think that the Lord calls us, thanks to the pandemic, to retool, refurb, replan, and then that's how it is. That's how it is. Listen to me. I studied journalism really from September 1992 to December 1996. My hope was to be a radio talk show host. Well, you guys are stuck with me in podcast universe, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But the one thing that they don't tell you, and I tell people this all the time, is that you can't trust everything that the news media reports. And some people will be like, well, Jimmy, why are you that way? Because I studied journalism. I studied it. And the one thing you need to know, especially when it comes to politics and matters of faith and importance, they don't cover the truth and the full truth. No. They cover what their editors, and more importantly, what the media outlets' owners want them to cover. Ooh, I just made some people mad. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruffle anybody's feathers, but guys, do you understand what this reactive culture is doing? It's making people feel afraid and alone. All these changes. Yeah. Listen to me. I can spot somebody who is knee-jerk reactive. And maybe they got the best intentions, but they're sincerely wrong. You see, that's why I left journalism in December 1996. Started studying political science. I got my bachelor's degree in political science at Texas Tech. And the first thing you learn in your political science classes, day one, you leave your ideology at the door. Because it's a more proactive study of politics. And we need and I think we need to look at that a little bit more to stop the merry-go-round. There is not a reactive culture that's caused by the prince of the power of the air who wants to cause problems. Listen to me. I'm not saying be paranoid, be afraid, be discouraged. No, I want you to have hope. Listen to me. I agree with Rush Limbaugh when he said the only limitations that you have are the ones that you impose. This reactive stuff I see all over the news and people being addicted to celebrity. The latest thing about Britney Spears. I just want to kind of just wave my hands and say, America, you gotta be smarter than this. We need to grow back into our greatness. And so one of the best ways is to be preactive and proactive. Because that's one of the things the Heavenly Father wants. And you need to see that now. I hope you enjoyed listening to the James Hendricks Show. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and be able to receive most daily updates. This is Jimi Hendrix saying until next time, take care and God bless.